All right, y'all. I don't know if you're ready, but we're going to have our authors join the screen. We're going to have an awesome horror author panel led by someone you all know and love, Artie. Arthur Avalos, the author of Something Happened in the House Behind the Creek. But Jasmine, if you want to boot me and get Artie up here, I think go for it.
All right, Artie, it's all you,
Hello.
boo.
Thank you. How's everyone doing?
Doing real good.
Excellent.
Awesome. I'm so excited. I got some questions together. We got a little fun round of rapid questions. And then my favorite part towards the end. But what I like to do when I get started with these is kind of just everybody introduce yourselves and give us like an elevator pitch of like who you are, where we can find you, and latest release or upcoming release. So whoever wants to go first.
I'm Nicole Milazzo. I am on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Mostly TikTok and Facebook. Instagram's not really my thing. I have The Legend of Sunnyvale, my very first book. Second one is not going to be this. I wanted to write a sequel for this one, but I have a new idea. Thank you to Carl Bluesy. I just got into a horror fantasy genre thanks to his book, so I am very excited to share that with you guys.
Yay. And who wants to go next?
I guess I'll go.
I don't know if we're all in the same order, so I don't know if we should just randomly do it.
I'll go next. Carl Bluesy. I'm mainly on Instagram and TikTok, but I'm a little bit of everywhere. My book that I have out is Zara the Dam. It's horror fantasy. Get trapped in hell, so you got a little bit of fantasy with the new world, but lots of gore and horror.
Awesome.
My turn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Hello, everyone. My name is Bladen Mercutio. I wrote Southwest Gothic. It actually doesn't come out until October 28th. But previously, before this, I was a world touring musician. So I have a whole host of music out there to sample. And I was previously a graphic novelist. So that's all out there. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And if it exists, I'm probably on it somehow, some way. But that does not mean that I know how to work it.
I feel that. And guys, follow everybody here. I don't know if you guys have like newsletters or anything, but if you guys do have them, or if they do have them, sign up for them, do all the stuff, follow them. The more we support indie authors, the more we get to do all the things that we love to do out here. So I know Michael introduced me, but I'm Artie, Arthur Avalos, author of Something Happened, a psychological thriller with horror elements and what I like to call a dash of slash, along with a short story that I published just a few months ago, The House Behind the Creek. And I'm on Arthur Avalos author on all social media, so pretty easy to follow on everywhere, except X. That's the only thing I'm not on. I'm on everything else though, so awesome. So I guess we'll just jump right in and go straight with the questions. So we all love horror. We all write, it sounds like a little bit different genres within horror. But what draws you guys to the genre of horror? Why did you start writing in horror? And yeah, tell us your journey on horror as well. Like, did you watch a lot of it growing up or read a lot of it? Where was your horror journey? And whoever wants to go first.
Okay, my horror journey probably had to start with Stephen King, Pet Sematary, Carrie, what's the one? Christine. I love all those. For thriller, when I started writing this book, it was supposed to be a thriller, but the dark mind kind of took over and it became a horror. So other than that, love thriller and horror movies. Always been a huge fan.
What's your favorite Stephen King horror novel? Because it sounds like you said you started with Carrie, right? Because I started with Carrie too. Carrie was my first Stephen King.
I would have to say Christine. That just so creepy. And Pet Sematary. Oh my gosh. Old school. Love it.
Love it. And whoever wants, I don't, is Carl above Nicole? Are you above her?
Yeah, I'm above her
Yeah.
on my screen too.
Okay, perfect. Then we'll just go in that order. We'll go like down, up, and over.
Perfect. Yeah, I started with Stephen King too, both with the movies and his books. And The Shining was the one that really inspired me to start writing. And like I realized that being the cold being the aspect of horror, and I started writing short stories with that, and just kind of grew and grew and grew. Now I'm just addicted.
Oh man.
Wait.
So I guess for me, I'm with kind of with Nicole, man. Like I started out with Stephen King, and my actual first was Dolores Claiborne, which was not all that spooky until she like loses her mind and then tries to go and unalive her husband in an eclipse. And I was really young when I saw it, so I don't know, it just got in there, and now I'm who I am because of it. But my book started out more urban fantasy. It's witches in the desert Southwest, and you just can't have sassy witches without adding in a whole bunch of horror. And most of my horror is folklore based, so it's kind of based in the legends and a little bit historical and bringing those into play. But I just love the whole like, oh cool, you think you're safe? Just kidding, and you just slap them with something totally spooky and scary out of nowhere. That's just I don't know. That's just the pinnacle for writing in our genre to me.
Yeah. I love how a lot of us at least have started, or Stephen King is the one that got a lot of us into it. I got started, I actually started reading Stephen King later in life. I started with like the Goosebump books when I was younger. I think I was like in my early 20s when I first started reading Stephen King. But other than that, Goosebumps is what started me on horror. And one of the reasons why I love horror though is kind of when you look at like that whole collection of Goosebump books, there's such a variety of different topics and they deal with so many different things. I feel like horror is one of those genres that you really can do so much with. You could tell, you can weave in grief, trauma, and so much that you can't necessarily do with other types of genre storytelling. I think you can with a lot of them, but I think horror is very universal when it comes to all the different themes. So, with that kind of being said, what kind of themes are in your books and in your stories?
Oh, sorry. Mine is scarecrow based. So, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Goosebumps. Loved all that. Like growing up. Yeah, I don't know. I just something about scarecrows. Really like it.
Yeah. I love the Are You Afraid of the Dark? I loved that show. I watched it all the time growing up. And Carl, what kind of themes, horror themes, or what is your book tackle?
So it tackles the kind of like fighting your demons both literally and metaphorically. Some characters go into hell have to escape the literal monsters, where other ones and other characters have monsters in our world, but they also have to face the problems of their own personality and addictions and such.
I saw some people mention Slappy. Slappy was one of my favorite. All the Night of the Living Dummy ones ate those up in the Goosebumps series. And Layden, what kind of themes are in your story?
So I live in New Mexico, and we obviously have a lot of, native lands here. We have a lot of native spirits and monsters and folklore. So mine is kind of following behind a lot of what we will call SWs, because I'm still in New Mexico and I'm not going to dare say their name out loud, but kind of all of those what go bump in the night out in this part of the world. And then just kind of your basic stuff of like, oh, look, humans are being humans and kind of a terrible species. So let's just annihilate the whole world because humans are being humans. But so kind of, just like that basis of like really historical folklore based monsters and then also the modern monsters and how those two things can come together and create its own story and its own world of nastiness.
I love it. Yeah, I just love how, again, like horror, you really can just weave so many things in. And I know in my novel, I weaved in a lot of different themes. Like the overarching theme is the main character comes out, has a really bad experience coming out, but tied to that, without spoiling anything, where the setting takes place for everything is supposed to be something that was supposed to be safe, and then turns out to be one of the unsafest things that the character goes through when you really break it down and think about it. And that's without spoiling too much, because I think if I say too much, it'll give the ending away a little bit. But deals with a lot of grief in my story too, and then just those regrets that we have for maybe not saying or doing something when we could have. So living with that. Yeah. And if you guys have any questions in the comments for any of us, let us know. And then I'll ask away. But yeah. The second question I have, we kind of already talked about the book side of it, but it's still in the themes of horror and movies. What were some of your favorite horror movies that inspired your writing? If any of them did, or have just books inspired your writing?
In general, I just love horror movies. Like, talk to me. Very, 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 the scariest movie I've ever seen. Go watch it. It gives you like the Ouija board vibes, but with a hand. Really, really creepy. I didn't really have anything that really inspired me besides like Stephen King and wanting to write horror and just blood and gore stuff. Like, love that. Just, actually had really horrible dreams and night terrors about the scarecrow, and that's what got me writing this. So, yeah, just started writing it down.
Yeah. I love that. So, have you watched or read or watched The Clown in the Cornfield yet?
No, I
Adam
have
Cesar?
not. Not
Okay.
yet.
It's a trilogy right now, a 3-book series. I think he's trying to do a 4th book, but the movie just came out, all about a clown in a cornfield. It's not the same as the Scarecrow, but it gives the same vibe, so I would recommend that.
Super creepy. I'm definitely checking that out. Thank you.
Yeah. Carl, do you have any movies or other books that inspire your writing? Oh, I think you're muted still.
That better?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, mine's kind of a cheat because it's kind of both. It's Hellraiser, the movie, but that's based off a book. So it's kind of inspired by both the author, the things that are different in the book that isn't in the movie. I worked out for inspiration with my book. And of course, like the sequel book that doesn't have a movie.
Bladen?
I'm more of a TV person, but it's mostly because I can't commit to sitting down for 2 hours. But the Ritual freaking got me. Like, it was super spooky. You know, you're in the woods just trying to have a good dang time, and, well, no, you're not. Some monster's trying to eat you. And in a similar vein, this is probably going to age me a little bit, but the Blair Witch Project, when it came out and its marketing leading up to that, and then seeing that thing in the theater, like, walking out to the parking lot at 10 p.m. at night, like, was so unsettling. So, like, that whole thing. But these days, like, I'm in the middle of watching Penny Dreadful again, and I love the gothic mood of that show, and I definitely was inspired for the mood of my book, seeing that just, make it desert and not so much Victorian London. And then also, like, Dexter, which I don't really feel like is horror, but maybe slasher, I don't know. But, like, the overall vibe of, like, you think you're safe with this guy. Just kidding. You're not. But those are kind of the two that I've been on for a minute. Just trying to get that same, I don't know, the campy vibe of Dexter and the way that he talks, and it's so dry. And I have a lot of that. And then just the overall gothic mood of Penny Dreadful. That's like my whole vibe.
Yeah, I love it. I have a hard time watching a full movie too, so I usually it'll take me like 2 or 3 days to watch a movie because I'll have to watch 45 minutes and I'll pause and get back to it later. But yeah. And I love all the comments. I saw Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and I will say, Bladen, I fell for all the marketing, and when I first watched The Blair Witch, I thought it was legit real. And then after a while, it came out that it wasn't, and I felt so lame because I was like, I fell for it, and went to the theater 5 times to watch it. Like,
so cheap.
yeah.
But also, hats off to them for actually putting together marketing that got us. Because
Yeah.
nowadays, could never do it.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Somebody asked in the comments, and I love this question, what is the best part of being an indie author? Nicole? You're muted. Sorry.
There we go. Sorry. Honestly, it's getting the book recommendations and getting to meet new authors. It's amazing getting to read new books. A lot of fun.
Yeah, for me, it's similar to Nicole. Like it's just the readers, the community, and get invited to stuff like this. It takes a solitaire thing of reading to like a much more social thing, and it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they said. Plus, when you're an indie author, you're not beholden to anybody. You're not having to answer to some Joe Schmo at the publishing house who thinks that, oh, you don't need your book to look like that. You can decide to do your sprayed edges and everything that you want to do because no one is trying to tell you that they don't have the budget for you. You just do it yourself and you build your community and you have a better community that actually can support you as opposed to just being under trad pub and, you know, having to hope for the best that they even release your book in the first place.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's one of the best parts is that control piece. I mean, it's also the downside too, because we do everything. So we wear all of the hats and it can get exhausting, but it's very rewarding at the same time because we do have all the control. If we want to do something, we can do it. If we don't want to do something, we could also not do it. Which I think is good. Or this question leads into another question somebody asked was, why did you choose to put your book on KU or not put it on KU? Somebody asked in the comments.
I decided I wanted to put on Kindle Unlimited if there's anybody that wanted to read it for free. And just like, honestly, reviews mean so much. Like, so it doesn't matter how it's getting out there, just as long as everybody has a way of reading it, that's all that matters.
I did just because my other writing friends who have more experience than me, they had it on there. So I was, well, you guys know more than me. I'm just going to copy you guys.
And I'm a baby, so this is my first rodeo going into traditional like novel publishing. So all of my previous work was in graphic novels, and it's not the same. So I'm kind of, everybody else is kind of doing it. I think I get a trial of it and we'll see, you know, Amazon are evil overlords and all of that. But yeah, I from my perspective as an indie creator in general, like I want you to be able to read my stuff. I don't want you to have to not be able to enjoy a world that I've created because of finances. Like if I can help make that possible and you have K, by all means, I will do it.
That was the same for me. It was just the accessibility. I wanted to, as a newer indie author, I thought it was really important because nobody knows me. So do they want to take a chance and get all of my stuff full price? It's risky. So I wanted to offer KU so that I could build that audience and offer it to more people. So I love KU and I love that it exists for us indie authors. And then Tanika in the comments also asked, other than KU and the Zon, are your books available anywhere else? Did you guys publish anywhere else outside of Amazon, like Ingram Sparks? And can we find your books? Like, where else can we find your books?
Right now, unfortunately, mine's just on Amazon in paperback, ebook, and on Kindle Unlimited for free. I am going to branch out further. It'd be a great idea. So stay tuned.
I do have my paperback with English Spark, and so it goes out wherever they put their books. I don't fully know where it all goes, but I do know it's on places like Barnes & Noble and Indigo here in Canada. Okay. And I think there's probably a lot more places. I just don't know what it is, but it's just kind of cool.
Yeah, I think if you do Ingram, unless you opt out of them, like it should be also I think the only form I filled out for when I did Ingram was I chose not to do it at Target because there's some weird stuff when Target does do it. So if you are putting it on Ingram and I would opt out of Target in the future for your stuff when you do it through Ingram, just because their return policies and everything are way. It's a mess with Target. So, but yeah, I did through Ingram as well, and my books are. I think I saw it on Walmart's website, and I was like, "Oh, cool, Walmart." Bladen.
So I definitely have my paperback and my ebook through Ingram. So it's on Amazon and it's on Barnes and Noble and probably on Walmart. I just haven't seen it there yet. The hardcover I did myself. It's printed by me. I did publishing for 20 years, so I put the whole thing together, and they're actually on their way from Poland right now. So there'll probably be 400 boxes on my freaking patio when I get back to the house in a couple days. But this is available only exclusively through me because it's one that I can sit there and I can sign it, and it actually has extra stuff in the back that you can't get on the Ingram or the ebook that's out there. So there's some advantage to actually buying it from me and getting it signed and getting some extra goodies. But that's all on southwestgothic.net and bohemiantrash.net.
Awesome. And then, guys, keep dropping your questions for us in there. I have a writing question. What is your writing process? Are you a pantser? Are you a plotter? How do you get yourself ready to write a novel or your novel or what you're working on? And do you have any rituals or anything, writing rituals?
I always make sure there's a plot, a twist, and an end. I can't write the book unless I know what the ending is. Rituals, I like to just kind of go off grid where it's quiet to get some quiet reading. I don't mind background noise in the background, a little bit of music and a movie going on. Other than that, yeah.
For me, you write an outline, but then the characters go against it on almost every turn, and then by the time I'm at the second half of the book, it's just the outline doesn't even matter anymore. So the story's going in completely different directions.
Yeah.
And for writing routines, I try to do it first thing in the morning, but really, like any free moment I have, I'll pull up my phone and just write a note, write a paragraph, 2 paragraphs in the scene or whatever.
Yeah, as indie authors, we got to find any time we can. So just sitting in the elevator or waiting for the elevator, it's like, idea. I do a lot of voice notes. So I have like hundreds of voice notes on my phone. I just talk into it, and later I'll go back and listen to it. And I'm like, okay, that was good or that was really bad. Delete.
I get that.
Always with the best of intentions, right? To be like, oh, this is how the whole thing's gonna go, and then your villain comes in and he's like, no, I'm gonna do this, and you're like, well, all right, I guess we're pantsing it from here on. I'm really lucky. I went through a whole bunch of horrible shit, and from that, I was able to build this like little cabin down outside of Big Bend National Park. So like, come November 1st, I'm gonna just like pack my entire world up and just go disappear into the desert for like 4 days and hopefully get really far on my 5th book. We'll see. That's the hope. But set the vibe, get the spooky time going, and yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I'm a bit, I call myself a plantser. I'm a mix between a plotter and a pantser. I know where I start, where I end, and I know what beats have to go in there. Do I know where they're going to go? No. I just let, like you, Carl, all of us, it sounds like we're the same. You just start, you know where it's going to go. We just don't know the journey yet. And that's me. I will have some stuff plotted, but for the most part, I don't like to go too in-depth because I like to just have it all just roll. And I changed my mind so much. I think I had several different unalivers in my book when I first started it. And then at the end, it was somebody completely different. So there's that. Michael asks, have you let your identities influence your writing in any way?
I actually wrote a lot about this about myself when it comes down to like what I wear. Like I don't look at fashion, like I'm not a huge fashionista, so I kind of wrote about myself and what I kind of do, and yeah. Yeah. Like the Volkswagen Beetle, like there's a lot of references, so people that know me, they read this, they're gonna be like, oh my god. Yeah.
so much. I've been playing my second book. I tell a lot of people
You're a little muffled.
Sorry, is that better?
Yes, perfect.
Excellent. Yeah, for me, it's not so. I didn't myself didn't get in the book, but a lot of people I know, coworkers and stuff, just like people watching, let their personalities kind of shine through a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have one character that's a bit of an insert. Part of that being that you as a person have your own voice, and it's real easy to write that voice, and then everybody else around that character shouldn't sound anything like them. So I do have that one character that really just is a smartass and can't take anything seriously and is overall just the idiot who, the Gemini in the group who is definitely maybe also the monster. We can't really tell, but but the other thing is, it's like, I think no matter your view on all that, every single character that you write is going to you are going to influence them, whether it's, the way they dress or the car they drive or their interests. Like, you're going to have little bits and pieces of you, even in your villain, as much as you don't want to admit it. It's going to be there. So I think that's very much going to always be possible with pretty much every author. And I think anybody that tells you otherwise is lying.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's people who know me after they read my book, they are like, I see so much of you in it from, I think, same like what you said, Nicole, with some of those little things. Growing up, obsessed with No Doubt. If you read my story, you get the reference. The car that's driven in there. There are just so many little things that I pulled. Even there were some personal memories that I threw into the novel that some of the characters go through. So that was just, it was fun. So I put a lot of myself in there and people around me or experiences that I've had. Minus the unaliving in the woods. I did not unalive my family. My family was not unalived in the woods. That part is totally fictional. In case somebody's watching, they're all still here. I have a question that, was there a scene in your book that was hard to write, whether difficult because emotionally or difficult because of whatever it was you were writing about? But was there a scene in your current work in progress or your novel that you wrote that was just difficult for you to write?
Well, for mine, it was difficult because I wasn't sure how people would feel about it. But in Canada, there's certain things over here that are legalized that's not legalized. So this kind of gives off stoner vibes a little bit. And I was kind of worried to put that in there because some people are really right against drugs and stuff. So there's that. There's some drinking. There's some smoking. But I was worried about that.
I got mine's similar with the drugs. I was worried about, like, I tried to do the best I could, but I wasn't, like, you never know how stuff like that's going to come off. It's going to trigger a person the wrong way, and especially when I had stuff like ODing happen, and I was worried. So I tried to do it in a way that was both raw but also respectful, and I hope it came out that way, or at least semi.
Yeah.
I tried. It's really just in this one. It's not so much in all the books that happen after this, but in the first book, it's set in a small town in West Texas. I have one non-binary character. I have another character who is gay, and there's just a whole bit of diversity as far as the LGBTQIA plus spectrum going on. And so there's some mild transphobia in it that happens because it happened to me when I was still living in these small towns in West Texas. And it's still something that I have to deal with being as close to Texas as I can. So it sucks to have to sit there and write these things that have happened to you or that you're scared that they're going to happen to you and put yourself in those shoes and make them real, and then have to be like, cool, now that I'm in that mindset and have to live in that brain place for a second. But I honestly, I hate that that's even in the book from the perspective of I would love to have a series where it's not a thing. That's unrealistic, at least in this first book. It's better in the 2 through 5, but it exists. I hate that it's there, but it's real. So
I think for me, there were 2 scenes in my book that were particularly hard. And I think it was because of the theme. They were characters that were unalived and just trying to write about their unaliving and how other people reacted to them. I know, Nicole, you read it, but the one near the creek where kind of they gather and they have to do something, I had a few people reach out to me and said that was very emotional, which was good because I wanted it to be. I wanted them to cry. And so a few people messaged me and said, that broke me. And I was like, good, that was the point. Like, I achieved what I wanted to, but it was hard to write that, trying to put yourself in that moment. And then when another character gets unalived by somebody else was also another moment, because it was an emotional reveal when that person is unalive. So those were, I think, the hardest 2 scenes to write, just because I was also trying to keep the mystery involved. And that's not easy to always do in writing. I'm glad my book ruined. Yes. I have another question. Do you place any of your own fears in your writing? Like, do you tackle your own scary thoughts, your own demons, or anything like that? Or did you in your novel?
Well, in mine, this whole time, like for Ava, she's got writer's block. She wants to write a novel. That is probably my biggest fear, is my next book not being as good as this one. Probably my biggest fear is being able to come up with the next best book. But to touch on your book, The House Behind the Creek, how you wrote about the unliving was like fantastic. Like, it spooked me. Like, I loved it. I read it at night. It was really late. I was like, nightmares.
Yeah. No, that one,
It's so good.
I had a lot of fun writing that one, because I went into that one like, because that one was it's coming, I'm writing a whole collection of short stories, and it's going to be a collection called Midnights. And basically they're supposed to be just bite-sized stories you could read before bed, but I want them to like creep you out. And I had so much fun writing that one, because I was like, I don't want this to be serious. I don't want there to be a serious theme. I just want there to be a ghost story about a house, and I just want people to walk away just feeling a little disturbed afterwards. So, yeah.
You succeeded.
Yeah. And Carl, the question with the fears and stuff in your stories?
I did just put some of my fears in the book that the Desire of the Damned book, but I am putting a lot more of my personal fears in my second book, and standalone. It's going to be called Skin Room. That one's a lot more personal in a weird way. Not in the character way, but just a lot more of like my own fears are in that one.
So for me, not so much in this book. This one follows really closely to my main character, McCarthy. She has like huge fear of abandonment, and she's never been in love, and she just, wants to not have to save the world. She wants to finish her degree in anthropology and just like, live a normal life, a witchy life, but still a normal life. But as the series goes on, and then it starts to be a little bit more of like, oh, look, here's some fear of commitment in this character. Where did that come from? And, oh, here's some like absolute fear of the dark. Where did that come from? It's like the further along in the series it gets, the more it's like, oh, yeah, those are mine. I can claim that. Whoops.
Yeah, I think for me, I put a little bit of my fears in there. Like, as much as I love being scared, like in The House Behind the Creek, I wouldn't go into a haunted house, even though I would want, even though I wrote about it, I wouldn't do it. I'm terrified. I'm actually really terrified of being scared, but I love being scared. It makes zero sense, but yeah.
I get it. 100% I get it.
Yeah. Somebody asked in the comments, is there anything you would do differently about your book? Would you change the ending? Yeah. Nicole?
Well, I should have did the arc read thing. I never did that. It was my first time, so I didn't know what I was doing, but there was some really good suggestions about how certain things should go in the book, like with the blood and the gore. I wish I would have listened to one person's comment. I would change that for sure. I can't give out too much, like, oh my gosh, gotta read it.
Carl?
My big thing is that ending my book is kind of a cliffhanger, which wasn't intentional. It's just I didn't realize how big the story was when I started it. So what was supposed to be one book is now going to be 2 or 3 books. So I wish I had it like planned out a little bit better, so I could have had better structured as book 1, book 2, entities, instead of this one long narrative that just kind of has a weird, awkward break at the end.
Yeah. I love cliffhangers though, because I know there are a lot of people on the internet sometimes don't like it. I love cliffhangers and I love open-ended books too. I don't need everything wrapped in a bow. If there are questions, I'm probably going to rate it a 5-star because I like that. That's so much fun. So I love that.
Always give strong impressions.
Yeah.
So my dirty little secret is that I wrote this book and finished it in March of 2020. And then I sat on it, and then I didn't want to edit it, so I started writing a sequel, and there was not supposed to be one. And I had finished my 4th book before I even released the first one. So in some respects, I'm really grateful that I had all of that time to like grow and mature as a writer, and get a feel for the world and the characters and how it was going to change as a series and how that impacted book 1. I had an extra 5 years where I was able to go, oh, but this is, so I can go put that in book 1 and anchor everything that way. It's the one thing I honestly do wish though is that I would not have sat on it as long as I did. I just kept thinking like, oh, well, I need to find an agent. I need to do all the things and I need to go the trad pub route. And it's like, no, you don't. Why did you? So that is kind of my one regret is it could have been out years ago, but some good came from that, I guess.
Yeah. It got to sit and marinate and cook a little bit longer. So,
Yes.
I mean, and now we have a product and it's amazing.
Yes, that's the hope at least.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I would change about my story per se. But I think just some of the things I did during the process, I probably would do differently. Like one of the biggest things is I would never open my mouth again and say I'm writing a trilogy because the pressure I put on myself to do the second one and work on the third one, that pressure, I put too much on myself. So that's probably the one thing I would change is I'm not very good at it. I talk too much. And I would probably never have said that this was more than one book because, yeah, the pressure. But somebody in the comments also asked, were you scared to start writing when you started this journey? And I know, Bladen, you said it started about 5+ years ago. So, but for all of you, were you scared to jump into this? What was the push? Because by day, I'm a therapist. And one of the things I tell my clients when they come to therapy is like, why are you here? What brings you here? But also, did something push you over the edge to kind of just finally do it? Because so many times people talk about wanting to go to therapy and they don't do it. So what was the thing that pushed you into doing it? Kind of the same with writing. Was there something that finally pushed you to say like, I've been thinking about this for years. I'm just going to do it.
My nightmares brought me here today. I honestly would just write it down. I thought maybe it would go away. I'd be okay. I was more worried about people seeing what's up here and how evil and dark it can go. But also writing under my name and not under a pen name was kind of scary for me because I wasn't sure, like, everyone's going to know who I am. They're going to be looking into me and stuff. Like, not that there's anything to hide, but it's scary because I'm very private. And so it's like, oh, we're going to be social now.
Yeah.
For me, it was just kind of natural progression. Like when I just started writing for myself, I had no intention of sharing what I was writing. But then I wanted to improve, so I went on talked to other writers, and then they said, "You just put your story here, put your story there." So I listened, and then people started reading my stuff, and I was okay with it, and I just continued on.
So I did most of my work back in the day in graphic novels, and I had a huge hard drive crash. It was so much trauma, and this was back in the day when we didn't have solid state drives. Again, I'm old, but so I lost a bunch of stuff, and it got to a point and my life just turned tipsy-turvy. An average page for a comic would take me about 30 to 40 hours. That is a hell of a long time to do one page. And so eventually I did have to put my comic on hiatus and just be like, look, guys, I love you, but I can't do this. I got to work. I got to go to school. I got to do all these things. And around that time, like a year or two after I walked away from Starcross, I came up with this idea for the witches and the Desert Southwest and the legends and the whatnot. And it kind of just marinated for a while, and I wrote out maybe the first scene, and I'm like, oh, that's neat. But it wasn't until I moved from Alabama, yikes, to New Mexico that I just got so invigorated because I was back in my home, in my land, in my place where everything made sense. And then it just took off. I wrote book 1 in 4 months. It's a 420-page novel, and I wrote the dang thing bleh. So once it was going, wheels were off. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I've been writing since I was a kid. I started writing very young. I live in Chicago, and there was a newspaper that was written by kids in the community of Pilsen in Chicago, and I joined that newspaper when I was 10. So I started writing when I was really young, but I never thought I'd actually write a book. And then despite having 40 books started, after I finally one day got bored, I was like, let me just compile everything I have. I had over 40 books started on my computer, but my mom passed away in 2022 unexpectedly, and I kind of was like, I never did this, and my mom always told me I should, so I'm just gonna do it. And that was the event that pushed me over the edge. I've always been a writer, but that was the thing that said, you have to do it. And I dedicated the first book to her, and that was part of it too. I was like, well, my mom's not here, but if I write a book and dedicate it to her, she'll live forever. So that was another part of why so I had to do it at that point, because I was like, I'm doing it for me, but also for her. So,
I love that.
So we're getting into the wrap up stage. This is kind of a fun part. These are, they're rapid fire questions. They're kind of silly. First thing that comes to your head for them, and we'll go as quick as we can. There's 6 of them and then a fun one at the end. But, would you rather be haunted or would you rather haunt somebody?
Definitely haunt somebody.
Definitely.
I got some people I'd like to get revenge on.
Yeah. Carl?
Haunt for sure. Sure. They get to have all the fun.
Yeah.
My handle is the Sovereign of Ghosts, so I think that kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah. I'd probably want to haunt somebody too. All the people that, even the people I love, but I'd have so much fun with the people that I didn't quite love, Vampire or werewolf? Who would you rather be if you had to turn into one? Would you rather turn into a vampire or a werewolf?
Vampire.
Yeah, I go vampire as well. Werewolves, they don't remember what they did. Vampires, they get to actually experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And you live forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm too bougie.
Feel free in the comments, guys. Sorry?
I said I'm too bougie. I'd have to be a vampire.
Yeah. Definitely. The same for me. I would definitely be a vampire. Live for a very long time and just be a night owl. Perfect. Now, in a slasher movie, would you be running up the stairs or would you be running out the door?
Out the door. Planning my escape.
Up the stairs and out the window.
Okay.
Keep them guessing.
Out the door.
Okay. I almost would go up the stairs too, because I have so much rage in me. I'm like, I'm going to go find something to smash over this person's head who's chasing me. So I'm running up the stairs. I'm going to make it hard for you to get to me.
You don't know. There could be pitchforks and stuff outside.
Ooh, very true.
Don't
Very
say
true.
that. Don't say that.
Would you be a cult leader or would you be a cult follower?
Oh, damn. A leader.
I won't say far. I just hate having to lead people. So much work.
Yeah.
Sovereign of Ghosts.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would start. My goal would be leader, but I would start as a follower, learn some stuff, infiltrate, and then take it over. That's what I would do. Would you rather spend the night in a graveyard or an abandoned asylum?
An asylum. Let's go scary.
Well, I've already done graveyard, so I gotta try the new thing with the asylum.
Ooh.
Creepy.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah,
Do both.
exactly. Yeah, I've done the graveyard thing, so I would probably do the asylum just to make sure I have them both. So, would you rather find a cursed object or accidentally summon a demon?
Ooh, a cursed object.
I'd go with demon. I think it'd be more interesting to see how they versus item I had too much control over.
Yeah, I want a bro, man. Like, let me summon a demon. We can hang out.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. And the last one is screw, marry, unalive. Just got to be careful with the wording here, but you know what I'm referencing, right? You get it?
Yeah.
I'll say it really fast. Fuck, marry, kill. But screw, marry, unalive. Ghostface, Freddy, or Pennywise?
Ghostface all the way.
But which one would you screw? Which one would you marry? Which one would you unalive? Ghostface, Freddy, or Pennywise?
Ghostface, I would screw. No, wait. Oh my gosh, that's tough. No, I'd marry Ghostface. I'd kill Pennywise. And who was the other dude?
Freddy. Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm gonna have to screw him, I guess. Damn, that's gross. I won't marry him.
All right. For screw, I'm going with Pennywise. He seems like he could have all the toys in all the games.
Good point.
Marion, I'd go with Ghostface because there's a lot more variety there. And then so Freddy, as well. You can just kill him over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I have to unalive Pennywise because he stresses me out, man. I can't with that. No. I'll go ahead and marry Ghostface because, honestly, I feel like he's got it together. Like, underneath all of that, like, he's got a car, he's got a house. He's just, like, being a freak. That's cool.
Yeah.
And, Freddy might be cool for a one-time, like, screw, like, weird experience that I could talk about for the rest of my life.
I'd probably marry Freddy only because like he can help me like unalive people, and if we're married, like if we go to court we can't testify against each other, so he can like help do all my dirty work. Plus he'd be like scary to like sleep with. I would probably sleep with Ghostface because we don't know what everything looks like underneath, and it could be really awesome. So I'm going to screw Ghostface. I'm going to marry Freddy, and I'm going to unalive Pennywise because I am not going near that. I am too afraid. No. Awesome. Well, we're at the point to wrap up. So, like, I always like to ask on this part going out, give us your elevator pitch again. Tell us who you are, your books, where we can find them. If you do signed copies, let us know where to get signed copies and stuff from. Again, plug your socials, do all the things, and everybody in the comments, run and do all the things.
I'm Nicole Milazzo. I'm on Facebook and TikTok mostly, also Instagram. And I wrote The Legend of Sunnyvale, available on Amazon in paperback, ebook, and on Kindle Unlimited for free.
Carl Bluesy. I'm mainly on Instagram and TikTok. You can find my stuff on my website, which you get access from all my social media. Zara the Dan, Trip to Hell. Lots of fun.
I'm Bladen Mercutio. I wrote Southwest Gothic, which is about sassy witches in the desert southwest trying to thwart some jackass of a villain who's stealing legends. You can find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, but if you like signed copies, you can get those straight from me on my website, southwestgothic.net. And yeah, I'm on TikTok and Facebook and everything I think except for X.
And I'm Artie, Arthur Avalos, author of Something Happened and The House Behind the Creek. House Behind the Creek is only available on Kindle, through Amazon. It's going to be part of a larger collection, so there will be a physical copy to get later. And then this is available anywhere books are sold, minus Target. And you can find me on all social medias at Arthur Avalos Author, which is a tongue twister. Blame my parents, not me. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And if you want signed, personalized stuff, I have a website, but I didn't put it on there, so direct message me and I will get that to you. This was fun, guys. Thank you guys so much, and thank you to the bestie and the bookish for having us. Jasmine, Lori, Michael, all of you guys. I did this last year with you guys. I did something different, but it was so much fun. Thank you guys so much for having me and us, and yes.